Hello, Bible readers. I promise I'm getting my hair cut soon. It's getting long. Well, I'm in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. We've been talking about marriage. We've been talking about reasons to get married, reasons not to get married. Well, I'm in chapter 7, verse 22. Make that 32 today. I'm starting at verse 32. And these first two verses here, 32 and 33, really explain a good explanation of why the passages earlier were saying, don't, in these difficult times, you shouldn't do this, or Paul was encouraging you not to marry in difficult times. Well, these kind of explain what he's talking about. Verse 32, this is Paul speaking. I want you to be without concerns. The unmarried man is concerned about the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. So, to be concerned, to worry about things, you've got things on your mind. I'm concerned. I've got worries. I've got problems. And Paul says, I want you to be without concerns, without problems. He says, the unmarried man, well, he's only concerned. His only things he's trying to think about are of the Lord and how he can please the Lord. But the next verse is, but the married man is concerned about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. And that's true. I care about my wife. I'm concerned about her. I want to take care of her needs. So although I want to serve the Lord, I have the Lord. I've got my wife too. I'm trying to think of how to take care of my wife, how to serve her. And he says, and his interests are divided. That makes sense, doesn't it? That's why Paul was encouraging the unmarried not to marry, because he was encouraging you to focus all of your attention upon God and not be concerned about family needs, wife and children and those things. So in verse 34, he said, and his interests are divided. The unmarried woman or virgin is concerned about the things of the Lord, so that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But the married woman is concerned about the things of the world, how she may please her husband. Same thing. We care about our wives. We're concerned for them. Wives care about their husbands, are concerned for them. So that's why Paul was encouraging in troubled times not to marry. Verse 35, and this is Paul again, I'm saying this for your own benefit, not to put a restraint on you. I'm saying this for your good, not to hold you back, a restraint on you, but to promote what's proper, and so that you may be devoted to the Lord without distraction. He's just encouraging us to be devoted to God without distractions. Verse 36, if any man thinks he is acting improperly toward the virgin he is engaged to, if she's getting beyond the usual age for marriage and he feels he should marry, he can do what he wants. He's not sinning. They can get married. You see, engagements in these times when the Bible was written, they were long. They were always long engagements. So he's saying, in those times, I'm engaged to her. She's getting older. I probably should marry her now. So it was a different time as far as engagement. So that's why you could have been engaged for long periods and not be married. That was the thing. That's the way they did things. Verse 37, but he who stands firm in his heart, who's under no compulsion. No, I'm not compelled. There's no compulsion. I'm not being forced to do this. Nothing's pushing me, but has control over his own will, and has decided in his heart to keep her as his fiancée, will do well. So Paul was encouraging, keep the long engagement. She's still your fiancée, but you're not married. So then he who marries his fiancée does well, but he who does not marry will do better. That was Paul's ideas that God was impressing him to say. A wife is bound as long as her husband is living. But if her husband dies, she's free to be married to anyone she wants, only in the Lord, under the Lord's leadership. But she's happier if she remains as she is, in my opinion. And I think that I also have the Spirit of God. He's saying, yeah, it's my opinion, and I think God has told me to say this to you. So, words about marriage. And I think we'll move on to a different subject when we get into chapter 8. God bless you as you're reading in 1 Corinthians.